Hello and welcome. My name is Vanessa Ortali. I am the founder of the Ladies Community and Heart and Mind Talks. And today we have another amazing interview for our Summit the One. And the theme of this interview is one with purpose, one with self, and one with others. And I am bringing to you David Meltzer, or I put an N in there and it didn't, I screwed it
I do that all the
up.
time.
Meltzer. And he is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing. He is an entrepreneur, business coach, author, TEDx speaker, and he's done so much. And so I wanted to bring him here today to chat about his journey, how he got to where he's at right now, what his purpose has looked like and how it's evolved over time, and then give you some of his business hacks and how he is able to merge his spirituality and self-development with business. So we're going to dive right in. David, thank you for being here and for sharing all of your knowledge, because if anyone's seen your podcast, Playbook, which is the #1 podcast right now on entrepreneurs.com or magazine?
Yeah, entrepreneur.com and magazine.
See, there you go.
Magazines, but
there you go.
There.
And so, yeah, so Playbooks, go check it out. And he also has a text number if you want to get in his text community now while you're listening. What's your text number, David?
949-298-2905. And it's one of my favorite things because everybody really gets involved and opens everything. So 949-298-2905.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about, I want to go back to young David.
Yeah.
Who were you and what were you doing?
I'm still young because I'm going to live to
Yeah.
111.
You're right. I shouldn't have said that.
But I'm not as young as I used to be.
Yeah, in age.
So, the purpose of my life has been in two realms. And obviously I have much more clarity at 52 than I had at 5. But I've been a money-driven person my entire life. My purpose is to get as much money for different reasons throughout that transgression. And there's 3 different worlds that I evolved to. I was born into a world of not enough. I had a single mom. My dad left when I was 5, worked 2 jobs. She was a 2nd grade teacher. And then she packed our dinners in a paper bag in a Country Squire station wagon in Akron, Ohio. And she filled up turnstiles at the 7-Elevens, at the convenience stores, greeting cards so we could eat. I get choked up because that means so much to me. But yeah. I grew up in an energy of scarcity. There just wasn't enough food. There wasn't enough to go to college, graduate school. And here's the irony is I've almost my entire life, I'm probably one of the few people, I was born with a quantum positivity, a quantum happiness. So I was super happy. I can count on my hand the amount of days that I've been depressed out of 52 years. And there's been some serious stuff that's happened to me along the way.
Is the rest of your family like that too? Or where do you think you got this from?
Yeah, it's quantum, right? So it's been handed down from, like my grandfather, I used to call the Toptimist. And then I realized as I got older how optimistic he was that he was called my papa. So I named it the Poptimist. It's like beyond the Toptimist. I try to be a Poptimist myself. And anyway, yeah, so I was blessed to be born with this positive energy that's truly inherent in my nature. And so I was very positive and very happy, but the only time there wasn't happiness as a child in that world of not enough, when I saw things as me being a victim. Why do they think they're better than me because they have a nice car? Why do they think they're better than me because he has 2 parents, or his dad's a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer? I had this sense of worthiness that my mom would cry when the car broke down, or she was too prideful to ask for money. And that made me sad. So for me, money was a currency. It was an object of energy that I put into flow to get what I wanted. And what I wanted at a young age was to buy my mom a house and a car. You can imagine 6 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment with this extraordinary mother, and I have extraordinary siblings as well, all went to the Ivy Leagues, full scholarships, not just graduated from Harvard, Penn, and Columbia, but summa cum laude, and just exceptional intellectual academics, and really good people, kind people, nice people. But money was my gig, man. I wanted to make a ton of money to buy my mom a house and a car. And the way that I originally was going to do it, just to be an athlete, I was super fast. I used to joke around. I could run scared faster than anyone could angry. And I was tiny. So that lasted me through college. I did get to play football in college. It afforded me to go to college. But very quickly in college, I realized that I better adhere to my mom's advice, which was really doctor, lawyer, or failure. And that was a motto in my home. The fetus wasn't fully developed till after graduate school. I joke around, my mom, who's still my hero, my wife and my mom, I know this is a woman's platform. I'm driven by my three daughters, my mom, and my wife. And I am extremely blessed. I do have a 9-year-old son, not to leave him out, but I'm driven by being surrounded by extraordinary women in my life and mentors. So my mom, though, she was
Can I ask about that too? What
yeah.
do you learn most about the women in your life?
Well, at different times, I learned what unconditional love is, which is the most important thing to me.
Mhm.
I also learned about equality. It's very difficult when you have the intent to create equality for everyone, and when your whole platform that you grew up on is unification, whether through sexes, religions, or race. Warren Moon is my business partner. Religiously, I try to join everybody together through spirituality and unification, and then of course through the sexes. Initially, having a very strong mom who was emotionally abused, that had self-worth issues, and understanding a deadbeat dad who made tons of money and married a girl closer to my age, and my own guilt at 7 years old. I distinctly remember sitting in the back of that car asking my mom, in complete ignorance, by the way, how come you can't be more like dad? He's awesome, right? And my mom not being paid anything, working 2 jobs. It's like, as a man,
Yeah.
you deal with it. And so for me, understanding the evolution of that equality, and placing such power, and then having 3 daughters right off the bat, to understand, I remember the nurse telling me, God's going to give you, because I didn't know if I was having a boy or a girl, and it was just, God's going to give you what you need. And I will tell you that my own life progression from the world of not enough to just enough and to more than enough has been driven by that perspective of teaching and learning from 3 daughters, and still teaching and learning from 3 daughters, and allowing that
Yeah.
to happen. And then most of all, my extraordinary wife, and knowing her since the 4th grade, and being married for 23 years, and the forgiveness
Wow.
and accountability and enlightenment and wisdom of her making me a better person. So
Wow.
that's the journey was money driven.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will tell you, I was blessed. I ended up going to law school and not med school. I learned a whole bunch of lessons, not football. I tried, but law school. But one of the interesting things, I was so focused on money that I actually reverse engineered what law school that I was going to, not by the prestige of the law school, but by literally how I could graduate and make the most money. So I found out that oil and gas litigators made the most money graduating law school, and Tulane University taught civil and common law. It was the #1 maritime law school in the world. And so I purposely, when people
Wow.
think I went there to drink, it was an added benefit, the parties and the oil. But I truly went there to make money. And I was driven. I didn't care what it was when I graduated. I was going to pay off my law loans, buy my mom a house and a car. And then, like, literally, I remember praying my 3rd year in law school, when I didn't think I was going to get a job, if God would let me pay off my law loans, buy my mom a house and a car, I'd shovel shit with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and be grateful. That's how much I wanted to do that. And it was money driven. Well, I ended up having to choose that oil and gas job with an internet job, selling legal research online that I didn't need a law degree. This is where that faith blend comes in. You talk about how do you blend your faith and spirituality into business. This was the first time that I had to do that, because I had a choice to make. And my core was telling me the internet was going to be amazing and that I was going to have a huge opportunity. My ego and money was telling me, my mommy was telling me, the internet was a fad. Don't take the risk. You got a 6-figure job selling, being a real lawyer. You're going to be a multimillionaire as an oil and gas litigator. And I went against my mom's advice. I tell people all the time, it's the first time I voted for what I wanted in my life. Every other time I voted for what everybody else wanted. I didn't have faith I just went by what I was supposed to do. You know, you go to law school, you do study hard, you do all these things. And I went with my faith. And although it's important because I blended my faith, because I took the bar just in case my mom was right. I did these things and I still blend faith. Uh, what I've learned now, you know, this is 30 years later since I graduated law school. What I've learned now is that when I make decisions 100% on faith, sooner or later, they're the best decisions of my life. I'm too afraid, and I think it's okay for people to know this. Even though I know that, cognitively, in my truth consciousness, I'm too afraid to always make faith-based decisions, especially in business. I still make monetary decisions. I'm just conscious of it now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm mitigating what I want now for the greater good of what I can have later, my higher self, my greater potential. And that's where my faith is at this current moment. But anyway, I ended up taking—
I want to ask you a question about that, because I would love, within all these interviews, I also want to raise people's consciousness. And when you say you're making a faith-based decision, what does it feel like to you? Like, how do you know it's a faith-based decision and that's something that you want to move forward with?
I know you're not supposed to say this, but that's a great question.
Yeah.
It is, and very few people ask me that, but I'm very pragmatic. So for me, I make my decision based on my normal conscious values of personal experiential giving and receiving values. I make an economic decision based on the currency of this vibration, which is money, an object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. Green card, gold card, platinum card, black card. The more money you have, the more you can get. How faith is blended in, or where it is there's one variable that you can extract to put yourself in a true faith-based decision: time. If you make a decision and I say, you know what, I'm going to buy this house for my family, or I'm going to buy this property as an investment, and then say, okay, all of these variables in this conscious pragmatic vibration work out, they seem like it's a good decision. I extract time and say, what if I had 1,000,000 lifetimes? Would I buy this house? Would I buy this house if I had 1,000,000 lifetimes? The minute you extract time, you take yourselves into a realm of infinity, into the realm of faith, into the higher vibration, which is an aggregate of what you think, say, do, and believe, and those unconscious competencies, the quantum memories that we have inherent in our DNA, that they project themselves as our personality traits, our characteristics, our obsessions and addictions. When I extract time from my decision making, I can tell myself, nah, I'm not going to buy that because I have 1,000,000,000 lifetimes. This is just complicating my existence and journey from the lessons. It's creating interference. It's putting baggage on me. It's not taking it off. This is an ego-based decision to buy such a big place or expensive place. Or why would I need more? I already have more than enough. There's more than enough of everyone for everyone. My faith tells me that I should go ahead and invest that money in a community center in Africa to empower young women who are not given the opportunity, because in the long run, I'm making room for what I want by elevating others to elevate myself. That's how faith works, but it doesn't work with time. The minute you put time in that I have one lifetime, I'm back down out of a world of more than enough. At best, I live in a world of just enough, that there's just enough for me. Now I'm making decisions on a pragmatic, conscious, economic level without faith. And what I find myself doing is trying my best to make those faithful decisions, but I do live in this vibration with 4 kids and marriages and graduate schools and undergraduate schools and high schools and cheerleading uniforms and charities and all these things. So what I try my best to do is to blend those two things together, to understand that I'm participating at this vibration, but trying to live to my highest potential within this vibration. And so I can't always make a faith-based decision. I have to make a blended decision that hedges or mitigates against what I know to be the truth.
Yeah. I love the way that you said that. I also love how, do you notice when David talks about money, he calls it a currency? And I think once we start to understand the concept that money is just a currency of so many, it can take away that pressure and help you to change your vibration around money so that we're not living from a scarcity and lack mentality.
Yeah, and I did. I lived in, and and it was reinforced. 9 months out of law school, because I reverse engineered my career. I'm very good with time, and we talked about pragmatics, business hacks. I use productivity, accessibility, and gratitude as the lenses to utilize time with. I study my calendar, what I'm going to do and plan for the day in person, on the phone, via email and social media, radio, print, TV. I study the white space of my calendar, what I don't have planned, with the same lenses. And then I study sleep. You know, the number one habit that we all share, the thing we spend the most time doing, that I see sleep as twofold. One, it's a time for recovery. So I want to make sure that I'm maximizing the productivity, accessibility, and gratitude of my recovery. But it's also the most productive time because it's when we're in spirit, without the weights, the corrosion, the interference to the most powerful source of energy, light, and lessons. And then when we're training and practicing sleep, the way that we train and practice what we have planned for the day, or even those who are more advanced and practice what they don't have planned for the day. But I became an expert at that. And, you know, I joke around, I made $1 million 9 months out of law school by working 64 hours of productivity a day. You know, I was laser focused. I don't believe in work. I believe in activity I get paid for and activity I don't get paid for. I got extremely focused. I believe that attention plus intention equals the coincidences in our lives. And I practice that, and I practice that and improve on it from the time that I've been 24 years old when I graduated law school till now, today, when I'm 52. And I train people to practice that. You know, I train people to understand what it means to practice, that 2 minutes a day of practice is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. I believe in the exponentiality of the universe, the exponential growth and acceleration of the universe. And I proved it with the economics. The one thing that I didn't prove at a young age with my economics was I believed that money bought happiness. And then I even believed that money bought love. And because I was so good at attracting money, because I developed this relationship with that currency, with that energy, like you said, what a great thing for people to take away from this is, please have a relationship with that energy, that currency, understand it as it is. And the more you mature that relationship, the same way you can with your intimate spouse or partner, whatever you have, your children in your life, I mature my relationship with the currency of money the same way I have with my spouse, who I absolutely adore, and biggest blessing is that unification in my life. And it hasn't always been that way, right? Because of me, not because of her. I had to learn, and I had to learn my relationship with money. But I not only made a lot of money right out of law school, and then bought my mom the house and a car, which made me the favorite child, you know, in my mind, right? All the things were reinforcing, dude. This is how it all happens. And then I was trading my money for everything. I was trading it for friendships. I was trading it for self-worth. I was trading it for definition. I was trading it for charity, you know, for recognition. I was trading my money. And so in my mind, the more money I could attract for me, the better. And then I moved from being a victim to an ego-based consciousness of just for me. So I lived in just a world of not enough. Now there's a world of just enough for me. And there's plenty of people that have $40 million homes and big things like I have, that live in this sad, scarce world where they don't understand that money does not buy happiness or love. Now, here's the biggest lesson that most people don't get. Money's still the most important thing to me in this vibration. I know it does not buy happiness. I know it does not buy love. But what it does, because it is a currency, is it allows me to shop at this vibration. It allows me to have a black card so that if I want to have options to buy the right things, like community centers, like girls and boys clubs, like programs for children to learn to protect, all these things for our future. There's no doubt that Jeff Bezos' $10 billion will impact this world that he gave to our environment more than Vanessa and David can. That's because he manifested that. He understands and has a relationship. You must understand that the gentlemen that today, the Warren Buffetts and the Steve Jobs and the Gates and the Bezos, that they have a different relationship with money than most people. Steve Wynn is another man who mentors me about that relationship, that I've asked questions. Can you help me with my relationship with money? Because I've created shortages, voids, and obstacles. I don't understand. I have a worthiness problem, a separateness problem. I see inferiority and superiority related to money. And none of that's true. But money is still super important. Because we live at this vibration, and it is the currency of this vibration. Faith is the currency of the higher vibration. So I want to have black card faith and black card credit card.
Love
That's
it.
how I live.
Yeah.
And I can blend, I can maximize the blend. But if I have black card money and green card faith, that doesn't work. Or if I have green card money and black card faith, that doesn't work either. It just doesn't work. We live at both vibrations and need to blend that.
So if somebody wants to improve their relationship with money, what are some tips that you would give them?
So first, practice the math, right? People most commonly avoid money. They avoid the understanding of how to make it. They avoid the understanding how to save it. They avoid the understanding on how literally to give it. So you need to pragmatically look at each side. So number one, you can't give what you don't have, right? That's the first confusion in energy of money. Most people, if they realize that not living in a world of not enough, not living in a world of just for me, right? But living in the world of more than enough, the one that I live in most of the time, the one that I practice living in, where everything comes through me for others. I'm inspired to get so much, everything that I want, from money to gratitude to forgiveness to accountability to inspiration. I want as much of all of those things as I can so I can allow it to come through me with that appreciation. I'm adding value to it and giving it away to others. Once you have that formation set with your relationship to money, that money is going to come through me for others. It's not to me. It's not just for me. It's through me. Now your relationship with money changes. You start feeling worthy. My biggest problem when I was a multimillionaire, I had over $100 million in net worth and paper and golf courses, ski mountains, homes. My biggest problem was that I didn't feel worthy. Right? I carried an energy that I wasn't worthy with it because it was all for me and I was already overloaded. Most people that are extremely wealthy hit a point where they lie in bed and they feel empty. And they realize, man, and I've talked, Bomber, and I mean, these are great stories of people that I've been around and asked the question, hey, have you ever felt lonely and empty and soulless? And they all say, yeah. And like, I remember when I built my big house for my wife and I hit the pinnacle of my wealth and I had every single thing I wanted in the world materialistically, I opened my eyes in that humongous home and said, man, oh shit. Because it was the first time in my life I didn't feel that purpose that this thing's about, right?
Yeah.
I lost.
Is it almost like you keep going for that, what you think is a pinnacle, and your worth and your value is so based on money and success. And then you get there and you get it and you're thinking, what? Like, this was it? What did I work so hard for?
Right. And that's like the idea of going to heaven. Imagine working your entire life to get to heaven and realizing you're already in heaven. Right. And for me, this is where I came up with this line, right? Enjoy, find the light, love, and lessons in everything that you do, the consistent every day, persistent without quit pursuit of your potential, right? There is no pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the pursuit if you enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of that potential that you're looking for. And your potential can change every day. And it's your potential, quantum to you, right? I have my own individual potentials as far as a basketball player or a speaker or an author or a playbook guy or whatever it is. These are all different potentials of Dave Meltzer. Some I have extraordinary potential. Others I have very low potential. I could work every single day and never be as good as LeBron James, but I promise you LeBron James could work every single day and not be as good at me at some of the things that are quantum in my nature as well. And so I think understanding your purpose is your enjoyment of the pursuit. It's not just the pursuit, right? Pursuing things aren't going to make you happy. It's finding the light, love, and lessons. I tell people all the time, learn to love everything that you do. There is no like, oh, I want to work in sports because I love sports. Look, I'm telling you, if you're a garbage man at the stadium, you work in sports. But if you don't learn to love what you're doing, taking out the garbage and all the extras, you're not going to love working in sports. And so many people are so confused about this unbelievably mythical being of loving what you do. My wife, when we were married early on, she's like, you're so lucky because you're the only one I know that always loves what they do. And I looked at her, I'm like, who loves selling legal research online? Right? It's that I created a perspective that I was going to learn to love everything that I did. And it might have been quantum in my nature because I'm a optimist, but I literally sat there and like, you know, I find all the cool stuff about what I'm doing and I learned to love it, you know, and I started attacking the things that I didn't like. And instead of avoiding them, I started saying, how can I learn to love taking out the trash? Because that was like my negative big karma. I hated taking the trash out. How can I love paying taxes? You know, I'll tell you, by the way, because most people don't love paying taxes. I do, because I went and took a perspective of I'm going to pay attention to what my taxes provide for everyone else. Right. And I went on
Yeah.
a leadership at sea program and met these extraordinary people of service on Navy ships that like are just trying to save enough money to go to med school, and they're sacrificing sometimes their entire lives just for the good of other people. And I said to myself, man, if I didn't make so much money and pay so much in taxes, all these people wouldn't have this opportunity.
Yeah.
These people won't be of service in protecting my freedoms and my opportunities and my options to utilize my money how I want. And all of a sudden, every time that I'm paying taxes, I feel good,
Yeah.
right?
I love this example. And if you're listening to this, you can do this today too. So the next thing you purchase, a coffee, whatever you are buying today, when you're purchasing it, take that moment that David is describing to look at what your money is doing, because it is helping all of those people that are working there. It's helping the people that have provided the coffee to that coffee place, that are working in fields. Just that cup of coffee you might buy is impacting hundreds of people in the process. So if you start looking at what you're doing, it can start to create that shift that David's talking about, to change your relationship with money and be more grateful, and realizing that as you put out money into the currency, it's just flowing. Money has to flow for you to get more.
Yeah, and go ahead and
Yeah.
not to live in the world of more than enough. Not only take the lessons of light, love in everything, but go ahead and turn around and buy the person behind you a cup of coffee.
Mm,
Watch how many coffees will be bought in line
yeah.
after you do that. You'll make room for what you want when you live in the world of more than enough and let go of the fact that there isn't enough for you. There's more than enough for you. Give it all, make room for what you want, give it all away, allow it to come through you. Go ahead, pay for people behind you. Right? Pay for, and it's not just if you can't afford it, then go ahead and pick up trash at this when you see it on the ground. Go
Yeah.
ahead, return the grocery cart all the way back so somebody doesn't have to. Wait an extra 30 seconds to hold the door open or help somebody with their groceries. You know, if you can't afford to pay for the groceries behind you, pay it forward by doing good deeds. That itself will make room for what you want. It provides a higher source, a higher frequency of energy that starts connecting you, because it clears what those activities do is it clears the interference and corrosion that which you're already connected to. We have so many kilowatts. You know, your finger, that little finger of yours right there, can light up the entire Las Vegas Strip. That's how many kilowatts you have in your body. That's how much power Vanessa has. And if she can realize that all these little things that she's doing with her ego, the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, resentful, all these things are just creating an interference to what she's already connected to. There is no getting motivated. It is how inspired can I be, and will I be what I must be? Right? If I must be what I can be, then I will develop skills every day and enjoy it. I'll develop knowledge every day and enjoy it. And I'll maintain my desire and grow that exponentially to achieve things through me for the betterment of everyone, including my own potential.
Yeah, I know, listening to this, because I'm feeling it, I'm just vibrating at such a high. It's so beautiful. And I know that just this conversation with you right now is going to help me have a better day. And so I hope you listening to this is helping you to have an amazing day and changing some of those conditioning and patterns that you have going on in your head. I do have one more question, David, as we finish up this chat. People may be listening to this and still be thinking, but how? Like, how do I make money? What do you say to people that can resonate with your desire to make money and how to make that shift?
That's a great question as well. You got to get focused, pay attention to making money, simplify it. I coach, you know, as a top business coach, I have people in, you know, what I tell this one person, I said, start thinking about how money's made. allow yourself to use the money however you want. But when you look and say, okay, I'll give people an idea of how I think. I still, right, I make a lot of money and I do very high complex business deals and whatever. I still take my kids, and we live in an affluent area, and I will look, at least for one, if not three garage sales, what time they're going to end. And just to prove and to practice making money, I will go to the very end of the garage sales in an affluent area with my wife's SUV, and I will ask to buy or to ask to give the most expensive item, just one item at each of them, right? And I'll say, you know what? I'm sure you don't want to deal with that thing. I'll take it off your hands. Do you want to give it to me? And they'll say no. I said, all right, how about $10? You wouldn't believe how many times I get for free the most expensive item that's left. So I'll get 3 items on a Saturday or a Sunday. It will take about 45 minutes, but I'm spending it with my kids, and we're joking around, and I'm teaching them negotiations, and we're spending time together. So what's the difference if we do that or go sit in a movie and don't talk to each other?
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, I also tell them that whatever we make is theirs, right? So they're inspired in a different way than going to a movie with their dad. They're inspired because they're thinking about how this is coming through me to them, and then I inspire them to say, what are you gonna do with that after we do it? Well, believe it or not, on average, we make over $1,000 a weekend doing that. That's
Wow,
$4,000.
that's fun. I want to come on one of these trips, David.
I'm
That
well,
sounds so
we're
fun.
video. I flip cars with my kids just to show them. So
Wow.
this is the perspective. You want a true how-to.
Mm.
I'm giving exact examples. I'll give you another one. I took $1,000 and told my kids, we're going to flip cars together. And I said, here's what you do. Let's go online and search what car sells the fastest for $3,000. And so we all looked and we found the car that sells it's like almost guaranteed if you get one. So then I searched those cars and I offered everyone selling that car for $3,000, $1,000. And I got 42 FUs. You're wasting my time. One person said, if you give me cash today, I'll do it.
That's all you
I
need.
flip that one for 3, do the same thing at 6, do the same thing at 9. Then it jumped to 15. We ended up with a G-Wagon for $1,000 flipping.
So cool. That's
Yeah.
like what they say in the bartering and trading system. There's that story of a guy who started with, I'm going to butcher the story, but like a pen and ended up with a Ferrari. Yeah, right?
Paper for a Ferrari. And there's tons of
Yeah.
examples with it. That's the thing
Yeah.
like Gary Vaynerchuk that I love, the simplicity of, helping people with that how. So what I want you to do is reverse engineer the money. If you want to make money, make it about making money. Don't make it romantic. Don't do what you like. I know guys that sell manufacturing equipment for stone cutting and they make millions of dollars a year. And I have friends that want to be the GM of the Chicago Cubs and they went to Harvard Law School and they're chasing. They don't equate. One is in the ethereal, faith-based world, and the other is in the pragmatic world of I'm going to make a ton of money. And the irony is the guy that makes all that money, he can go enjoy the baseball games more than the general manager of the Cubs because he has plenty of money to go on the sidelines and on the field, and you can buy your way into that. Money allows you to shop for what you want. So you get to shop for the areas of being a general manager that you want to be able to do, the access that you want, why you want to be the general manager. You don't want to be a general manager of the team and feel all that pressure and all that stuff. You want to get all the cool stuff. Might as well make enough money to buy it. So have a direct path to revenue, connect the dots backwards, use your common sense, and ask for help. There's tons of guys like Gary and I out there that are more than welcome if you have an idea to quickly give you advice on how to monetize it quickly.
That's awesome. And I think just that example alone also shows how David is so effectively able to merge the spiritual with the business. Because so many people will be on this spiritual path. They never think, I actually have to have a revenue structure. I have to know how to make money because you're living in this world. So thank you for making that so clear, David. I want to give the podcast again is Playbook and your text number. Give it one more time so people can join that community.
Yeah, and it would really help me if you text me the biggest impact that this interview's had, the number one thing that you learned, because it's not what I say, it's what you hear. And I'm blessed to have the time to do a lot of these. And I have a mission to impact over 1 billion people to be happy. So I don't always know what I say has the most impact, but my number is 949-298 2905, 949-298-2905.
That's awesome. And you can also follow David on his social media. His social media is David Meltzer, and it's spelled Melzer. So I said it right that time. I had to do it a second time.
I mess those up all the time.
Yeah, right?
Especially when I like make a point of not messing it up is when I always mess it up. What do you
I
think?
know. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, David. Thank you for being you and for sharing and for being so giving with your time and continuing to challenge our understanding and belief of money and spirituality. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. I hope this interview helped you, and go out there and practice some of the things that David talked about and shared with you today, because we really want to make your life better just for being here. So thank you. Sending you so much love. Thanks again, David. Have a great day.
Thank you, Vanessa.